What's going on, guys? Episode 54 of Dragon Ball Super just aired. Let's talk about what went down. Woo! So before we get started, huge shout out to designbyhumans.com for sending me this sick Goku tank top. I love it. If you guys are into gaming apparel, anime apparel, superhero apparel, any type of nerd apparel, you're going to want to check out this website, designbyhumans.com. All right, guys, let's get into it. So episode 54 starts out, Trunks is doing his image training. Now he's kind of in their front lawn. He's doing his image training, fighting Goku Black in his mind. Really sick too. You have this part of him, it shows him bleeding and stuff, and Emperor Pilaf and Mai show up and they're observing, and Mai's in her little image training of herself trying to kiss Trunks. It was really funny. But then, Goku lands or crash lands with Beerus and Whis because Whis miscalculated the speed that he was going, which was really funny, actually. But yeah, though, they crash land and it goes to them eating. And this is the really interesting part because you see Trunks really trying to figure out who Black is. He's asking all these qualifying questions to Goku, like, hey, so you're saying that he's not the same person? And, so they kind of go through this whole explanation of their energy is similar, but it's not the same. He was saying that he didn't really sense this evilness from Zamasu that Black had. And even Whis was the one that was confirming these things with Trunks. Now, one thing that, like I said, Beerus was suggesting that, hey, maybe he isn't that person yet. He may be that person in the future. So he said, don't rule it out. So I really like that, Beerus is actually putting this in their heads as well. But now I'm kind of thinking well, maybe he's not. If they're deliberately putting that in of hey, maybe he's not this person yet, it may be some kind of, device for us to think that when it really is something else. So really interesting to see where that goes. Now, right before they start training, Trunks has this flashback of them training in the hyperbolic time chamber. Now, this is really cool because we saw something that we didn't actually see in the series, Vegeta going Super Vegeta inside the time chamber. We actually didn't see that sequence. We saw it obviously when he fought Cell, but we didn't see the training sequence. So I really like that part. That was cool. A really good Easter egg. Not Easter egg, but plot story device that I really liked, that I was glad that they showed because we've never seen it before. But once they started fighting, this is where things got really cool. So Trunks is I want you to go all out. Go Super Saiyan 3 just like Goku did. And Vegeta just cracks up and goes Super Saiyan Blue. And it was such a Vegeta moment of you think that's what the pinnacle is? Let me show you what the pinnacle is. And it was just so dope. And you saw, Trunks, everything playing through his mind of oh, so that's how Goku was able to fight with the God of Destruction. And it was one of those things where he started to piece things together, so they both must be this Super Saiyan Blue level. And I loved how Vegeta just kind of put him in his place really quick of dude, you've been gone a really long time. So Vegeta being Vegeta basically makes a game out of it and was look, if you can hit me once, you win. And then it really comes down to Trunks showing his intelligence over Vegeta. So he knows what's going to piss Vegeta off the most. I'm going to go kind of Super Trunks. So he goes, boom, gets really big. Vegeta gets pissed. He's like, are you still using this sluggish form? Goes after him, shrinks down, and then tries to attack him. And Vegeta's like, wow, so he used this just to bait me. I loved that moment. I thought that moment was awesome. And then he just gets his ass handed to him. I mean, Vegeta starts giving him the business, super crazy. Just kind of knocking him out, punching him all over the place. Goku senses him, comes in because he wants to show Bulma that he's training Trunks. And Bulma at first didn't really understand what was going on. I think she still doesn't, but it was cool to see. And it was cool that Goku brought her there to show hey, he cares about his son. Regardless of how you think he should, he cares about his son, which I really, really enjoyed. Now, on the side note, one of the things that I did like too is, Bulma is there finishing up the time machine. They finally have enough energy to go round trip, and which is cool because obviously future Bulma sent past Bulma, kind of schematics on the time machine, on the fuel, all that. They have tons of resources in the past. So for them to be able to create the fuel fast enough, I mean, they're golden already, which is great. Then Pilaf ends up doing something on the computer as far as creating a different program. And I wonder if that's a travel program or if it's more efficient for the time machine. Who knows? But Bulma got super hyped about it. And I was like, Yeah, that was pretty dope. So Zamasu is with his master. I keep forgetting his master's name. Leave it down in the comments if you guys remember. But he's with his master creating tea, making him some tea. And his master was like, hey, like, this is really bitter. And Zamasu was like, oh, it's the same leaves. He has a smirk on his face. Like, he knows what he's doing, which I'm a little curious about. Like, I feel like he's doing something that he shouldn't be doing, or it's just because he's so uneasy that it's making the tea taste bitter. Really interesting. But he's, talking about this planet that has these new human-like creatures on there. Very dinosaur-esque, but human-like creatures. And they're fighting each other. And he's like, yeah, they just emerged on this planet. And Zamasu was like, we need to take them out. And he was like, what are you talking about? Like, that's what the god of destruction does. That's not what we do. So he decides, hey, you know what? Well, let's go see what they look like 1,000 years from now. So he takes them to this room and gets the time rings. And he tells them, what the rings actually do. So the rings will not allow you to go into the past, only into the future and back to the present, which brings up a question of how did Goku Black go back in time? That is really interesting. So somebody had to have done it in the present time for him to come back. So I'm not 100% sure how that works, but it's really interesting. It's extremely interesting. And I wonder if that's the same rings that allowed him to come back to this current timeline. I'm not sure. It's really confusing right now, but it did show these green rings, and what the green rings mean is when somebody changes an event, it adds a new green ring for people to go back to those specific new timelines, which is really interesting, and I'm glad they explained that. So I'm still trying to figure out how Goku Black has one that allows him to go back into time. So before they go into the future, his master was saying that they have to be a Kaioshin. They have to be wearing those green Patara earrings for them to be able to time travel. So he was like, I'm going to promote you temporarily to Kaioshin. So he placed it on the same ear that his master had. He's like, if you put it on the other one, we will actually fuse. And he was like, do you want to fuse at the same and become one being? And he was like, no. So I wonder why the hesitation, but who knows? However, going into the future now, they now see this different, civilization. They're more advanced, not say more advanced, but they are a civilization, but they're back to fighting. And Zamasu was like, they're never going to change. Like, this is all human-like creatures are going to, continue to be evil, destructive, things like that. So it's really interesting to see Zamasu and how this may potentially play into him either becoming Goku Black or spawning somebody like Goku Black. So at the very end of the episode was actually something really interesting, and it was a great cliffhanger for the next episode. Whis is cooking dinner for Beerus, and next thing you know, his staff starts to go off. And he was like, hey, can you get that? Beerus was like, call back later. And then the staff ends up floating by itself and then projecting none other than Zeno. And you can imagine the freak out moment that Beerus had. He ends up freaking out, ends up going directly towards the staff, bowing and breaking the table, which is hilarious. Pure comedy. I loved it. And he was like, I'm requesting to meet with Goku. And him and Whis freak out because they know what the potential of this could actually be. You actually saw them in a previous episode explaining why they were all under this, crazy, stress when Goku approached Zeno in the first place, because he has the ability to destroy anything in an instant. So if Goku ends up pissing him off some way, shape, or form, or disrespecting him in any way that he takes offense to, he could wipe out anything. So really interested to see what happens with Goku and Zeno in this next couple of episodes. But overall, I actually really enjoyed this episode. I probably give it a 7, maybe an 8 out of 10. It was a really good episode. I really enjoyed the Vegeta training session with Trunks. I thought that was brilliant, and I can't wait to see how Trunks actually gets this new form, hopefully. I really want him to get to a blue form. That'd be so dope. So let me know what you guys think about episode 54 of Dragon Ball Super. Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, I will be announcing the winners for our 7,000 and 400,000 K giveaway with Ismahawk probably in the next couple of days. So stay tuned to my channel for that. If you haven't registered, make sure you register to that. I'll leave a link in the description for you guys as well. Also, I'm approaching 10,000 subscribers. Yes. So letting you guys know now, The sooner I get to 10,000, the sooner we get another giveaway. So if you guys want that to happen, share this video. Make sure that people are subscribing to this channel, because once we get 10,000, there will be another giveaway. I promise. All right, guys, if you guys like this video, hit that thumbs up button. Show your boy some love. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, you're going to want to do that. Hit that APP logo in the corner to subscribe to the channel. Or if you're on mobile, hit the subscribe button. All right, guys, till next time. See you later.